What's up, guys? It's your boys Awoki back with another of Chris Watts videos. And you guys have been blowing my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter about this video from Crime A to Z, a channel that I've never watched before, but I'm definitely very intrigued because you guys have all been asking for it. Apparently, he made a video, he or she, not quite sure who, Chris Watts Family Murders, the full truth is worse than you thought. That's very, very bold. Like, it definitely tells a lot that there could be more to this that we don't even know. So this is going to be a two-part because this video is quite a bit of in length. So we're going to do this in two parts. So with that being said, before we go any further, if you could do me a solid favor, first, go to their channel, Crime A to Z. They are at 2,222, or 220, yeah, I was right. So make sure you just go over to their channel, give them some love, subscribe, like, share. Watch their old stuff, watch their new stuff, you get the deal. But over here, make sure you guys are subscribed as well by hitting that white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video. You guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for that continued love and support that you guys show on this channel every single day. I can't thank you guys enough. Can't wait to see what the future holds. And with that being said, let's get into this video because this video is at 1.5 million views in just 4 weeks. Take a look.
Hey, say hi, Bells.
Hi, Bill.
No, you gotta say hi.
Hi.
When Chris and I got married, we moved out here after visiting, fell in love with the area. It's gorgeous in Colorado. I'm making some Italian cookies today, but this guy right here, he's gonna do all the dishes.
Yeah, he looks like he's very emotionally and physically abused.
That's me.
County Communications, this is Stacy.
Hi, Stacey. My name's Nicole, and I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine. I dropped her off at her house at 2 in the morning last night because we were out of town together, and we were on the way back from the airport, and she's pregnant.
If we would have never seen that, or if we never heard from Nicole, again, like I say this on a lot of videos, we would have never gotten probably justice on Chris. Chris could have got away with it.
And I haven't been able to get a hold of her this morning. She won't answer the door. She won't answer phone calls. She won't answer text messages.
What's her name?
Shanann Watts.
Alrighty, we do have a call in. Nicole, we'll have an officer come out that way as soon as we can.
Welcome back to Crime A to Z, where we detail cases and criminals from their very beginning until well after other reporting ends. Since you're a human on this planet, you very likely already heard about the Chris Watts case. It's arguably one of the most...
There are some people that don't know about this case still to this day. And I know you're probably wondering, so why do you keep pausing? Because you guys don't want me to talk during the video.
...covered and followed murder cases of our time. So we decided it's about time to give the Crime A to Z treatment to the case that has made so many people question how well they really know someone.
I'm really gonna watch it.
After learning the full details of the case, we have a brand new level of disrespect for Chris Watts. So sit back, because while this case may start off with information you already knew, it almost certainly will not end that way.
Oh.
And before we start, if you like this video or any of our videos, we always genuinely appreciate you hitting like and subscribe and hopefully share. A really quick editor's note. Given the staggering volume of information related to this case, it's important to mention that, as usual, this video is based on either official court or police documents, referenced statements, and other verified or reputable sources, weeding out the speculations, theories, and unverified information. Let's go.
Let's do it. I like what I hear. A to Z.
Shanann Catherine Ruzek was born on January 10th, 19...
Look how much Bella and... Not saying anything bad about Celeste, but look how much Bella and Shanann look alike.
84 to parents Frank and Sandra Ruzek. Pronounced Shanann by friends and Shannon by her family. She grew up with her younger brother, Frank Jr., or Frankie, in Aberdeen, North Carolina. The family was small and close. According to Shannon's friends and family, she was a go-getter from the start. When she put her mind to something, she did whatever she needed to do to accomplish it. She was a boss in every good sense of the word. When Shanann was around 18, She married for about 6 years before it ended in divorce. Shanann herself would later recall how, although the relationship was painful, she grew from it, and eventually became stronger for it. And that's who Shanann was, learning from her experiences, growing, and finding happiness. It was during one of her particularly challenging life experiences in August of 2010, having just been in a car accident and facing the painful recovery process, as well as just being diagnosed with lupus, that she met Chris Watts. In 2010, Shanann had a Facebook account but was not a regular poster. It was on that platform that she received a friend request from a man she didn't know. He was a cousin of a friend of hers. She figured.
And I got a friend request from Chris on Facebook, and I was like, oh, what the heck, I'm never going to meet him. Accept.
Christopher Lee Watts was born on May 16, 1985 in Spring Lake, North Carolina, to parents Ronnie and Cindy Watts. The couple also had a daughter, Chris's older sister, Jamie. As a child, Chris loved playing sports including basketball, baseball, and football. He also loved NASCAR racing, which he'd attend with his dad. Chris was always described as quiet and easygoing, someone who got along with everyone. In his Pine Forest High School yearbook, he's described as being into automotive repairs, and he appeared on the patriotic page. After graduating Pine Forest, Chris attended NASCAR Tech, a trade school specializing in motorsport technology careers. As is often the case when it comes to attraction, Chris's personality was the opposite of Shannon's. While Shanann was outgoing and gregarious,
he was shy and
Chris was the opposite, shying away from attention. He didn't date throughout high school, with Shanann being his first serious relationship longer than 6 months.
Just shocking.
After Shanann met Chris on Facebook, she fell in love with the platform. It became her means to connect with family and friends, both old and new. She became a prolific poster, chronicling her battles, her triumphs, her everyday highs and lows, so that her friends, family, and followers could intimately keep up with all that was Shanann. Shanann and Chris's relationship flourished. After almost 2 years of dating, the couple decided to move to Colorado. So, in 2012, Chris arrived ahead of Shanann, living in the basement of a family that Shanann had briefly been the nanny for back in North Carolina. Shanann joined him in a couple months, and they continued staying there until their home in Colorado was finished being built. The couple married on November 3rd, 2012, back in North Carolina. They moved into their 5-bedroom home in Frederick, Colorado, and began planning and living out their seemingly picture-perfect lives together. Chris had already gotten a job at the local Ford dealership as a mechanic, and Shanann got a job there as a salesperson as well. And it didn't take long for them to start growing their family. By February in the following year, 2013, Shanann was pregnant with their first child. Bella Marie Watts was born in December of 2013.
Man, this guy's got good video, man. Holy cow.
And less than 2 years later, in July 2015, they welcomed his second daughter, Celeste Catherine Watts, who they lovingly called Cece. 2015 was a busy year for the couple. Aside from Cece being born, Chris landed a new job as a field coordinator at Anadarko, a local oil and natural gas drilling company. And Shanann was working in a call center at a children's hospital. The couple was bringing in about $90,000 per year, but it wasn't enough. They had accumulated a significant amount of debt. With over $70,000 in credit card debt, student loans, and medical bills, particularly a $25,000 out-of-pocket expense for neck surgery that Shanann had to have, and 2 years of regular doctor visits trying to get the girls properly diagnosed. They decided they couldn't meet their monthly expenses. They filed for bankruptcy that year. But things would start to look up. At the beginning of 2016, Shanann joined Lavelle, a multi-level marketing company selling vitamin-infused patches. She was a natural, being the caring, giving go-getter that all her friends knew her to be, someone who people instantly wanted to be friends with. She grew to becoming a top producer, earning vacations, allowances, and according to Chris and a friend of hers, a handsome income. She once posted about how the company pays her a monthly automobile bonus. Both on Facebook and in real life, Shannon's friends and family could see that she was happy. And by all accounts, those same friends and family, without exception, knew Chris to be a kind, quiet, and loving husband and a dedicated, doting father. Both parents adored their children and were raising them to be confident and caring.
Well, one thing led to another, and 8 years later, we have 2 kids. We live in Colorado, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yeah, she looks like a monster.
Shortly after posting that video in 2018, Shanann learned that she was pregnant again. She posted how she shared the moment with Chris on Facebook.
We did it again. I like that shirt. Really?
Really?
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's
boy.
awesome.
Chris appeared happy. A gender reveal party was planned, but
Canceled,
it would never happen.
Here we go.
Shanann had been away for the weekend on a work-related trip, while Chris was home with the two girls for the weekend. At about
I love my
1:48
weekends
a.m.
with the
after a
kids.
flight delay, an exhausted Shanann is finally dropped off at home by her friend, Nicole Atkinson, who was also on the trip with her. Later that morning, friends have grown worried that they'd not heard from Shanann and that she wasn't returning their calls or texts. Then, once they learned that she was a no-show for an OB appointment, something she would never miss, they're beyond concerned. Nicole Atkinson, the friend who dropped Shanann off in the wee hours of that morning, drives to Shannon's house with her 16-year-old and 2-year-old sons. She becomes even more concerned when there's no answer and she can see the shoes Shanann wears every day just inside the front door. And her car is still in the garage, visible through the windows at the top. She calls police requesting a well check.
The reason why is because her son kept looking in and pushing on the door. That's why the sensors went off.
They arrive within minutes.
Hi.
You're Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. What's going on?
So my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend,
All right.
and I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well, and she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9, and I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls, and she was very distraught over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking, and we kept trying to force it on her because she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband and her supposedly are separating, but she didn't know this. She thought they were just having issues. He disclosed that to me today.
Okay.
Because I called him and I was like, have you talked or heard from Shanann since she left for work this morning? Because I can't get a hold of her. I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are right in the front door.
She only has one vehicle?
She knew
No,
it
they
right
only
away.
have one vehicle in his work truck.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what
people
I'm asking.
blame
There's
Nicole
not-
Girls that
Atkinson.
went on a play date, but they're 4 and 2.
So
They're
dumb.
on a play date. Why wouldn't she take a car? They're both in car seats.
Yeah, was she gonna go barefoot?
Police search the outside of the home. The officer gets Chris on the phone and asks him if he knows where his wife and kids are. He says he doesn't, but that he'll be home in about 5 minutes. After a few minutes, Chris arrives home.
Okay, get mad.
Scott, how you doing?
How's it going?
So this is the only vehicle she would have?
Only one that, yeah.
She would drive? Okay.
And for some reason, he checks
He immediately
the car
goes
out.
into the garage and begins searching Shannon's car. Then, he goes into the house through the inner garage door and closes it.
Takes forever.
He's in the house alone for just over a minute before opening the front door for police and Nicole.
Why?
Then, Nicole discovers Shannon's cell phone.
Does she work?
Yeah, she works from home.
Oh, from home?
She works, this is her lifeline.
See, Nicole knew.
The stark difference between the level of concern shown by Nicole versus by Chris is clear.
You guys have any kind of issues, marital issues, or
We're going through separation.
you are? Did you guys file it yet or anything, or just talking about
No, we're gonna sell the house and do a separation.
it? How's that going?
It's going
Civil for the most
civil.
part, or
Yeah, on his part.
did she tell you anything about leaving, moving out?
Not moving out. I mean, the last time I talked to her was this morning. She said she's gonna take the kids to a friend's house, and she asked where she was gonna be. And then I've texted her today. I've never heard anything. But the car's here. Car
Right.
seats are here.
'Cause
Unless
your plan
somebody
was
came pick her
fooled.
up. But the people that I know.
Who?
nobody's
What
heard-
people?
nobody's seen
Who was the play date?
Right.
Like, none of that.
Police
lies
notice
make
that there's no
sense.
bedding on the bed. It has been stripped off and bundled on the floor. They find pillowcases and the top sheet in the kitchen trash, but the fitted sheet is missing. Other than that, they don't see any signs of foul play. Chris explains that Shanann usually likes to wash the sheets after she's slept in them after traveling to get the airport off of them. One thing that's clear to everyone searching is that the house is locked up tight from the inside. So there would be no way for an intruder to escape the home, leaving everything locked from the inside unless they left through the garage. Police learn that the next door neighbor has a surveillance camera, and they head over to see what he may have captured. About this time, Detective Dave Baumover, the sole detective of the Frederick Police Department, is called in to join the search. They hit the jackpot. The camera is pointed directly in the direction of the Watts home. The footage shows that the only person to come or go from the Watts home, at least from the front, is Chris himself.
Which he never did.
While Chris begins to over-explain himself.
Loading my stuff up in my coolers, my water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I had from the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping into rubbers today. That's why I was out so far.
Look at his face.
The neighbor explains how the camera will pick up any movement in the vicinity, while an increasingly anxious Chris continues rambling about questions he has not been asked.
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out there,
his cameras,
I would have got it.
Like we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that, and I had parked my truck.
I had your park right here.
Yeah. So I could see where someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like.
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would have.
It would have been like right in that area. They should have picked.
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
You know where that tree there too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Chris's level of stress at this point is visible and obvious.
I'm surprised they didn't like hold him for questioning here. Like, couldn't they have taken him in just for like, just questioning? They didn't.
Being stressed about his family having disappeared is not an abnormal reaction, but he didn't show that level of stress prior to viewing the video. Viewing that for an innocent person should not add additional stress. After they finish watching the video, Chris hightails it out of there. The officer stays behind.
All right, appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks. Hopefully something comes up here.
Nate even knew it. He's like, there's something wrong, man.
Mind if you just want to go talk to him? I'm going to get his info real quick. No.
Rocking back and forth, and if you look,
The neighbors called it.
he never loads his stuff in and out of the garage ever.
Right.
He doesn't look worried. He looks like he's trying to cover his tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if he's loading his stuff, why isn't he walking back and forth? But I can't see what he's doing in the back of the truck because he pulled into the garage. And he knows my camera's there. No, I'm just saying it's kind of odd that he pulls his truck back behind my camera. And he never backs his truck into the driveway.
Maybe he forgot.
And he's right. Chris was strict about never driving his truck onto the driveway out of fear of getting oil from the tires onto the driveway.
He didn't want to wake up the kids that were above him in the garage.
He's over here telling you 3 times what he took out, what he did. He's very, he never talks. So the fact that he's over here blabbing his mouth makes me kind of suspicious.
34-year-old Shannon, 4-year-old Bella, and 3-year-old Cece are officially considered missing. Watts' official storyline is that Shannon arrived home just before 2 a.m. from her business trip. He claims they had an emotional conversation.
In that time, though, at 2:39, she tried buying some hair products, which was declined. So from 1:48 to 2:39, what happened there? And then between 2:39, because Chris is not going to buy any hair product on her phone. So at least we know she's alive at that point. But let's continue.
Before he left for work at about 5:15 a.m. No one hears from Shannon for about 7 hours, until her neighbor arrives at her home at about noon, finding no one there. Once Chris arrives, they find Shannon's phone.
And we can't find out where Nicole was between the hours of 5 to 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Purse, her wallet, money, and ID, and even the children's critical medication, which she never left home without. Her car was in the garage and still contained the girls' car seats.
Excuse me. August 14th.
The next day, the FBI and the CBI joined the investigation. While police are searching his home with police dogs, Chris has agreed to be interviewed by 2 news stations.
When I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here. Kids weren't here. I have no idea, like, where they went. If she wasn't here, like, where did she go? Like, once I got here, it was like, all right, who can I call? If she's vanished, like, I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad. Last night, I wanted that knock on the door. I wanted to see those kids running, just
he had the chance of
me, just give me a hug and knock me on the
cleaning
ground.
up after
I'm hoping
himself.
that somebody sees something or somebody knows something and comes forward. Right now, it's got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's like they're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get us sent. I called her 3 times, texted her about 3
Look at his neck. Yeah, it's some weird reddish marks down there.
times just to say, you know,
Had to have
right
been
now I
from
don't even
Bella.
want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. That's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it.
As he's laughing.
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
From the start, Chris's lack of emotions was on display for everyone to see and speculate. Psychologists noted that he even appeared to be smiling or even laughing at times.
And Nicole Kessinger did this exact same thing. Laughing, joking, Shanann, doing all that same stuff.
Investigators called Chris Watts to the police department that evening for questioning.
5
FBI
hours.
Special Agent Graham Coder
5 to 6
conducts the
hours.
first interview with Watts that evening. Agents' suspicions of Watts were already heightened by his near emotionless behavior during the television interviews he granted. Then, as the questioning with investigators progressed, there were red flags. For starters, he kept referring to his wife and daughters in the past tense, like when he was shown a picture of his daughters.
No matter if it was 100 degrees outside or what, she loved those shoes. She always loves those shoes. And Bella, she always wore some flip-flops. She always will. She's just like, she was the girly girl.
But for the most part, during the 3+ hour interview, Watts sticks to his story that he and Shanann had planned to separate, that she said she was going to stay with a friend, and that he had no idea where his wife and kids were. He does admit that things are beginning to look worrisome.
What do you think happened?
At first, I really thought maybe she was just at somebody's house, just decompressing.
Just blowing off steam.
Yeah. But after today, like with the onslaught of all the cars, all the police cars, all the news, all the K9 units, it's making me lean the other direction about someone took her.
Okay.
But it's just, if someone took her, it would have to have been someone she knew.
You.
Because there's no sign of anything like being disturbed, broken.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's
Made
the way
sure
I'm
of
thinking
that.
now. At first, I thought for real she was just decompressing somewhere. I thought she was safe, even though everything in the house was left there.
Safe, but you murdered her
Now
with
it's
your
just
hands.
after the day with the news crews and everything. It feels more the other direction, and it's freaking me out.
No, it's not.
At one point, Agent Coder shares with Watts his perspective of how everything is looking.
It's bad.
So
It is
when
bad.
I work investigations like this, I have to keep an open mind on everything. Okay. And part of keeping an open mind is listening to you talk about your wife and your marriage. And the day she goes missing is the day that you guys have marital discord. Okay. So you can understand what I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Makes me sick to my stomach, honestly. Like, I know, like, I've talked to a few of my friends, it's like, this does not look good on you. I'm like, I know. It's like,
Everybody could see it.
People knew that we were having marital.
So you're telling me everybody can see his BS. We can see Nicole's BS. But yet we're not going to validate Nicole's BS?
issues, they're gonna look at me. especially with the way everything looks. And it honestly just makes me sick to my stomach because this is
You got
something
caught.
that I would never do. Ever. I know, like, you have to look at every vantage point. This is something I would never do to my kids or my wife. At all.
But at this point, even though the agent doesn't call it out, his wife and kids are supposedly merely missing. And given his claim that she said she was going to a friend's house, being sick to his stomach because he would never do this to his wife and kids when nothing has been revealed to have been done is telling. The highly skilled agent uses well-proven tactics to coax Watts into divulging what happened, including positive reinforcement to befriend him. But they're not letting him get away with anything either.
1 p.m. I'm now on my way home to check on my family. Is that just because you're worried based on the conversation from Nicole? Had the police contact you by then?
No.
Okay. 2, I arrive. Sorry, go ahead.
But Nicole said she was probably going to call the cops.
Okay. All right. Now, so it sounds like Nicole's pretty worried.
Mm-hmm.
More worried than you.
Well, so once she couldn't get anything out of her and nothing was going on at the house, I was like, all right, I gotta go home.
But it sounds like Nicole was more worried.
Yeah, because like if she doesn't text me, like I understand that.
Okay.
Like sometimes that happens.
Okay.
But for her not to get back to her direct sales group, that was very unorthodox.
Okay.
Agent Coder asks Watts about any infidelity.
So I need to ask you about your marriage and infidelity.
Okay.
Okay, tell me about it.
I have never cheated on my wife.
Okay.
I never.
Fully suspect she has never done that to me.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's always been.
But then later on, they try to sit there and say that Nico wasn't his. It was somebody else. And the amount of BS and bullcrap and stuff that they try to come up with, that Shanann killed the girls, Shanann was cheating on him. They just took what he did and tried to play the Uno card and reverse it to her to make her look like the bad guy. Disgusting.
Been a trustworthy person. I've always been a trustworthy person. I fully expect if we ever thought about straying another way, that we would tell each other before it happened.
He wanted
I
both
think
cookies.
That sounds ridiculous.
But he wasn't telling the truth. What Watts doesn't know is that detectives are already aware that he's having an affair. Early that morning, they've been alerted by the head of security at Watts' job that the company had discovered email evidence of a possible affair between Watts.
Nicole didn't come in at her own volition, like D.A. Rourke says. She came in because she got word that Anadarko had gone to law enforcement and mentioned that they found some, what do they call it, risque emails and so forth, and the talk amongst the employees and so forth. Plus, there's rumors that Nicole was messing around with possible higher-ups at Anadarko.
And a coworker. Shortly after that, the coworker herself, Nicole Kessinger, also came forward to police, claiming that she wanted to divulge their relationship to them and share what she knew about Watts.
I'm glad a bigger channel is exposing her. This is what I'm liking to see.
So, while Watts was being interviewed, police were also interviewing Nicole, who we'll refer to as Kessinger to differentiate Shannon's friend, Nicole Atkinson.
True.
During this first of several police interviews which took place in a park, Kessinger downplayed her relationship with Chris, stating that it wasn't that serious and that Watts was more into her than she was into him.
They both were.
She claimed Watts told her that
You're not going to sit there and call him and go, I missed your face. I just wanted to see you and talk to you. And then tell me it's not that serious?
He was separated and at the end of divorce proceedings. According to Kessinger, after the disappearance, she learned that Shanann was pregnant and that Watts had lied about it.
Oh, she knew earlier.
She said that if he could lie about that, she wondered what else could he lie about, and worried for the missing family's safety. More on Kessinger in a bit. Meanwhile, back at Chris's interview, he hasn't wavered. Since he insists he's telling the truth, police ask him if he will undergo a polygraph test. He agrees. So at 11 p.m., after nearly 4 hours of questioning and no probable cause to hold him, they plan to part ways for the night and have Chris return in the morning for the polygraph.
I've heard of people getting held for a lot more stupid, a lot more smaller. You can't tell me because the family's gone, he might be the prime suspect. They have no reason to hold this man. That makes no sense to me. I'm sorry.
I want you to go home, and I want you to know that I'm the guy you can talk to, okay? Who's not gonna judge you. I have kids. Sometimes I joke with my wife, I just need 2 weeks alone, you know? Like when you told me about your 4 to 5 weeks alone, I was like, wow, that sounds like a slice of heaven, right? Sometimes it's a bit much, okay? I want to talk to you again tomorrow, okay? I want you to get a good night's sleep and a good breakfast and a good workout, whatever you got to do, whatever your morning routine is.
Enjoy your last day of freedom. This is the day that he gets arrested.
Chris's father has flown into Colorado to support his son. Chris picks him up from the airport the next morning, and the two of them head for the police station and Chris's polygraph. Before the test begins, CBI agent Tammy Lee, who will be administering the test, explains what he can expect.
There's actually only 2 ways you can fail a polygraph, okay? The first way would be if you fail to follow my instructions. I'm going to give you a lot of instructions today about how to sit still, how to answer questions, things like that. So if you fail to follow those instructions, you will not pass today's test, okay? The second way would be if you choose to lie to me today. Obviously, this is about 100% truth. Even if there's, something that you didn't tell the investigators, since Monday, I guess, is when you ended up, the police were involved. If there's something that you didn't tell them since Monday, that is totally fine. I get it. People aren't going to remember every single detail every time they talk to someone. As long as you tell me what the truth is today, you will have no problem with passing, okay? I promise you that. And obviously, I hope that, if you did have something to do with their disappearance, it would be really stupid for you to come in and take a polygraph today.
So the level of false information, I believe that they said it was at a -3, which would cause you to fail. He was at a -18.
Exactly. Right? It would be really
dumb. Bad.
You should not be here right now sitting in this chair if you had anything to do with Shanann and the little girl's disappearance. Okay? Okay.
During the baseline testing, Agent Lee asks Chris to deliberately tell a lie, so they can see what a lie looks like for him on the detector. They find that his lies are obvious.
So, you obviously are a really bad liar. Have people told you that before? The second you tell a lie, they can tell, on your face that... Because the second you lied to the number 3, I don't know if you heard me clicking, but I had to, turn down the sensitivity because you were starting to go off the page. So, that is what I need to see as a polygrapher, because that tells me that you know it's wrong to tell a lie. And you're actually having a significant reaction when you lie, so that is awesome. So thank you for being a horrible liar. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We don't want to be good liars, so thank you for being a horrible liar.
Then the real questions come.
The test is about to begin. Please remain still. Do you know where Shanann is now?
No.
Chris failed the polygraph test.
Badly.
He didn't just fail. Investigators said he scored shockingly low. Police confront Chris about the results and tell him that he needs to come clean.
So, it is completely clear that you were not honest during the testing, and I think you already know that. You did not pass the polygraph test.
Okay.
Okay. So now we need to talk about what actually happened. And I feel like you're
probably
ready to do
Nicole?
that.
I didn't lie to you on that polygraph, I promise. Chris, I know. Stop. It's time.
Playing good cop, bad cop.
Take a deep breath. I want you to take a deep breath right now.
We're not here to play games. We're not here to do any of that with you. We just want to know what happened. So can you start from the beginning and tell us what happened?
Everything that I have told you, I did not lie on this polygraph. I don't know how much I could tell you right now. I did not.
It's not even an option right now because you did not pass the polygraph. So I know you were being deceptive. So that's not even an issue right now. The issue right now is what happened to Shanann.
Where is she?
Stella and Celeste. That's the issue right now.
Why did they do this to Nicole?
This is where the rubber meets the road, Chris. Don't let this continue any longer, please.
I'm not trying to make anything continue. I want them back home,
But you know they're not coming back home.
Agent Lee calls him out for not having shed a single tear.
I just find it hard to hear you talk about just having this emotional, you know, conversation with Shanann, and you're bawling and crying together, and you have not shed one tear in 2 days that you've been here. Not one. And help me understand that, because I don't get it.
I'm bawling for this case, and I'm not even included in this. And I've bawled countless hours on this.
These are your baby girls. And you have not shed one tear over them not being around.
He's like, crap, I should have done that.
Chris, I lose my 4-year-old in the store for 10 seconds, and I start to go panic.
My kid goes to the bathroom, I'm freaking out.
I have not seen any of that from you at all. Help me understand that.
I love those girls. I would never do any of this because I haven't shed a tear. Like, you get
no, that's weird. Is that weird?
Don't look into that like I don't love my kids.
Tell me,
my wife.
Explain to me. You're crying with your wife that you're leaving her.
Yeah.
But you don't cry that your 2 little baby girls.
I'm hoping they're still around somewhere. I'm hoping they're still somewhere.
After a few more minutes, Agent Coder takes a different approach.
But you are here today lying about something else. So we need to talk about that, okay?
Adultery.
I know. And this is very good. Keep
I'm not proud of it.
You don't care.
I don't think anything like that could happen. I don't think I would ever do it, but I did.
Because you lost weight and got the attention.
Keep going.
And she accused me of it. I denied it. I cheated on her, and I felt horrible for it. Like, she was pregnant, and it was. I don't want to.
I want to what?
I didn't hurt her. I cheated on her. I hurt her emotionally. I cheated on her.
You're doing a good job. This is the Chris that I knew would come out today. This is the Chris who tells the truth, because you're a truth teller.
He talks about there's two.
When Agent Coder says, I know, he is subtly sending a message to Watts that not only does he know about the affair, but he may also know much more. But Watts still holds out, not backing down. So Detective Lee decides to deploy a proven strategy of offering Watts a scapegoat. She does it by vilifying Shanann.
Chris, did Shanann do something to them?
No, I don't know.
No.
I'm serious.
I said right away.
You would have known, because they didn't leave the house. Did Shanann do something to them, and then did you feel like you had to do something to Shanann?
No, they were at the house when I left. They were there.
They weren't there. They didn't leave. They vanished. I mean, I want to believe that maybe Shanann did it, and you felt compelled to fix this so Shanann didn't look bad.
Not saying bad about Tammy, but she's trying to get him to talk. But a lot of people have gone with this theory that Shanann was the monster. She's not.
Like, did you?
I did not do anything.
All 3 of them?
I did not do anything against kids. Not do anything.
What did Shanann do to them? Tell us,
They're getting closer.
The strategies are starting to pay off. He starts to get emotional, but still will not admit anything.
How about this? If we brought your dad in here, would you please tell him what happened?
With Chris eager to talk to his dad, agents weigh the consideration, fully aware that the risk of him lawyering up may increase once he talks with his dad.
I'm surprised he didn't.
They take the risk, hoping that the close bond the two of them share may instead lead to an acknowledgement.
Nicole Kessinger didn't lawyer up either. I'm shocked about those.
Hey Chris, we're gonna let you have however much time you need, okay?
Okay. You gonna leave us in there or no?
I wonder what they talked about in the car from the airport.
What's going on with anything, or? And they just, Polygraph failed it. Is there any reason why they shouldn't? They know I had an affair. They know. I can't think about that.
Anything else you want to tell me? What's going on, or what might have happened, or anything? Or you know anything about?
I want to protect her.
What?
I mean, I do understand that Chris's father, Ronnie, is probably going through a lot of emotional roller coaster situations in this moment, because he's just he's finding out that his son is committed quadruple murder. So I feel for Ronnie in this moment, just because if this were me, I don't know what I would do. To know that you raised or tried to raise a young boy to be a man and take care of his family and so forth, and then you find out this, I definitely feel for Ronnie. I'm not gonna lie.
I want to protect her. You don't want to protect her. She hurt him. Yeah.
See, that's where he uses it.
And well, no, not her. Your girl. So she killed OCC and choked him to death. You lost it and choke her or not just this. It's rage. That's when you're getting all the bodies off or something.
You can see the worrying.
I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't freak out. I didn't know nothing else to do.
Chris has confessed to the very scenario agents offered up to him. And with that confession, he accurately foretells his fate to his father.
Last time I didn't see the light day again. It's the last time I don't see the light day again.
The agents return. And while they are confident that Chris was only taking advantage of the scapegoat scenario they'd offered up, the first order of business was to locate the bodies.
I don't know what to do.
I know.
I didn't know what to do. Like, none of this made sense. Why would she hurt my fucking girls?
So Chris, were they in something? Are they under the ground? Like, where would you find them?
Just please don't think anything less than talking about that. Are they all three out there, Chris? Yes. Okay.
Are they down in something? Are they under something? In something?
I didn't know what else to do.
I know, so tell me what you did. I know.
I didn't know what else to do. I was so scared.
I know.
Yeah, just think what your wife and your kids felt.
I just did that.
You're scared?
What do I do?
Right.
Anything that I would do from there was just going to be just insensitive and just a horrible thing. You were in a tough spot. I think, what can you do, right?
In an effort to help locate the bodies without Chris having to go to the site again, Agent Coder asks whether a coworker could help.
Would you prefer them with one of your coworkers?
Oh my God, no.
Okay.
I cannot have that. You just said that you're about to become a good man. They're going to see this. You're like, what the fuck did you do, Chris? Like, just go to college.
He's crying because now he's caught.
Well, they weren't in your shoes. They don't know.
I know.
They weren't living your life.
I know, but still, it's like,
People are going to
I can never, like,
We'll just go little steps at a time. How about that?
I can't have anybody show you out there, let anybody, no coworkers, please.
Okay.
I mean, they're just going to form their own opinions anyways once they figure everything out anyway.
We'll just take
Again, he's worried about his self-image.
It was the most extreme and passionate Chris had gotten, showing far more concern and emotion than he had shown for anything up until that point, including murdering his wife and the supposed murder of his children. During one of the lulls in the conversation, Ronnie shares with the agents a strange photo that he says Shanann posted on her Facebook page 2 days ago.
It was premeditated.
Like 2 days ago, they had this like 4 or 5 foot long baby doll. Yeah, laying on the couch with a sheet over it.
They tried to make it look like Shanann did this.
Before any of it happened.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So I'm thinking it's not a thing. I don't know.
He claims that Bella would not have taken such a photo. Agents ask Chris what he thought about it.
Do you remember that, Chris? What do you think?
make fun of it. Thought it was funny.
Did Bella do it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
With Chris breaking down at every mention of returning to the site, the agents leave the father and son and return after about half an hour. They escort Chris's father out to take a restroom break, after which he's taken to his own interview room. There, he vouches for his son's character and that he'd never do anything to harm his children.
But you guys have wanted me to watch this, so if you guys want me to watch that interview, I can definitely do so. I just didn't think you guys would want me to. Let me know down in the comments.
He also repeatedly refers to Shanann as unstable, bipolar, as having mood swings, and generally manipulative and antagonistic toward him and his wife.
Can you kind of just give us a little bit of a background on their relationship and how long you had known her and just kind of some background information together? What, 7 or 8 years as far as dating and stuff? We got married about 5 years ago, I think it was, 5 or 6 years ago. And as far as their relationship, it was fine. And then us, me and my wife, most of my wife's having a hard time getting on with her, but my wife calls it narcissist personality is what she thinks she is. And bipolar also. She has these mood swings and stuff, and she just said she don't realize how unstable she was. Who said that? That's not good. When did he say that? That was one he was talking about a few days ago.
You know what's funny is he said the same thing about Nicole.
Yeah, that's the way she is. She's just bipolar. 0 to 16. No time.
Back in Chris's interrogation room, agents return with a fresh photo of the site where Chris claimed he disposed of the bodies, Survey 319. Earlier that day, while Chris was busy failing his polygraph test, physical and drone searches were being conducted on the site after investigators obtained Chris's work truck's GPS data. It pinpointed his location on the morning of the disappearance.
They were looking everywhere.
The searches revealed and photographed the missing fitted sheet from the couple's bed, along with freshly moved dirt consistent with a shallow grave.
Which there was different footprints there, or shoe prints.
Presented with the photos, they asked Chris to mark the locations where he disposed each of the bodies.
So Tammy, I was just telling him, I wanted to show him that picture.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about how the rest of the night's going to go.
That looks familiar to you?
He's going to jail.
It's the BRC Survey 319.
Okay. Whereabouts is Shanann and the girls?
How old is this picture?
Today.
That's today.
Why would he ask that?
Okay, can you mark it for me? Thanks. I think it's the paper, it's just gonna be the S for Shanann. Okay, and where are the girls at?
Here.
In these? So which one is, do you know which one?
Are they in the tanks? Can somebody who doesn't know what they're doing open those? Okay, it's easy to open.
What's in the tanks?
Some mixture of oil and water.
Chris marks the drone photo, designating the locations of each of his family members' bodies.
Like, for some reason, he really looked at this picture. Like, knowing offhand, we know where they were. Why did it take him so long to mark it? And we see that, obviously, he couldn't get the marker to work, whatever have you. But, I mean, you would just know that, okay, Shannon's there.
S for Shanann, B for Bella, C for Celeste. The reason he was so reluctant to divulge their locations was because he had disposed of his little girl's bodies in 2 huge tanks of crude oil, an environment where trained engineers in hazmat suits would only be able to survive for a few minutes due to the toxic fumes that they give off. With the locations of the bodies now identified, Agents return their attention to Chris in search of more answers. His claim now is that after he told Shanann that he wanted to separate, he went downstairs. Then, after hearing noises upstairs, he went back up and first noticed Bella on the baby monitor.
He literally sat there and said, "This is the last time I'm going to put my little girls to bed."
Lifeless in her bed. Then, the monitor cycled to Cece's room, and Chris saw Shanann strangling her.
I don't believe
He
it.
says that he ran to where they were, threw Shanann off of Cece, and in a fit of rage, strangled Shanann.
No.
The agents never believed his story that so conveniently matched the one they lobbed to him to get his confession rolling. It didn't match the evidence at all. They were all but certain he was the culprit behind all the killings, supported by the fact that he had changed details of his account at least 3 times between his confession to his dad and the interrogations immediately following. But he would only murdering Shanann, not the girls.
Is it possible that when we get these girls, Bella, Cece, and Shanann, is it possible when we get them that we're going to see anything other than the cause of death being her hands? Okay.
That's why they.
And what I mean by that, and I should be very.
That's why they swabbed their necks and everything. Apparently, that's what they said.
Clear is that it's some of it's hard to believe that your wife did it. Right? You can imagine that. Okay. So is it possible that maybe she did one, and then you got Shanann, so you did to Shanann what she did to one of your daughters, and then you had to just do it to the other one? Okay. So is that's not what happened? No. Okay. Is it possible that, is there any other way where we might see your hands on the girl's neck? No. Okay. And you know what I mean? Because when we find their little bodies, we're going to see the diameter of someone's hand and someone's fingers, right? So is that all possible? We're going to see yours? Okay. All right. And I know it's hard, and I know you're probably getting angry at my question, but we have to ask.
Agents press Watts further regarding his reaction.
Can I ask you another tough question? And just get it all on the table? When you see Shanann choking, strangling Celeste, and you get her off of Celeste, did you think about calling an ambulance? How come?
I see you laying there blue and limp. I mean, I've never seen something like that in my life. I mean, she just lay over, nothing was moving at all, no gasp of breath.
So,
she was totally just blue.
So Chris, doing this job for a long time.
I know.
I know a lot about psychology and as far as what people are thinking, and most parents will never even want to fathom that their kid is dead. Even if their kid's stiff, blue in bed, stiff been dead all night, they still call an ambulance to see if someone can revive their child. And when the ambulance gets there and they're like, "Guys, their kid's been dead all night, there's nothing we can do." The parents are like, why are you not doing something? What are you talking about? So that's what we're used to. So that's why I want you to explain to me what was going on in your head and
the rage I felt for what she did, it just took over.
You're thinking about Nicole Kessinger.
But you see that kind of
I understand. I see where you're coming from.
Most parents would still try and call.
I see where you're coming from.
He did nothing. He didn't want them to be revived.
They try to appeal to his sense of decency.
I would hate for Shanann to get a bad rap if she didn't have anything to do with it. It's not fair.
I know.
It's not fair. Enough bad stuff has happened.
I know.
We need to stop the bad stuff from happening. So, do you want to tell us the truth?
That is the truth.
We can't believe a word you say, man.
No.
That's why I want to make sure. So you're good with the public knowing that Shanann killed her daughters?
I did not hurt these girls.
Hook him
Are
back
you
up
okay
to the
with
lie
the public
detector.
knowing that Shanann?
Yes, because I did not hurt these girls. Chris, I'm not sure I believe you.
That doesn't work.
I don't think you meant to.
I
don't think you meant to.
I didn't hurt them.
You didn't save them either. You know?
Just calling it bluff. No, you don't.
I know that.
So that don't make sense either.
None of this makes sense. Nothing like why she would be there. None of this makes sense.
Are you sure Shanann didn't catch you into it?
No, my God, no.
Watts would not concede, so they hit harder.
Chris, you can imagine that we're pretty cynical in our jobs, right? And tonight we've had to talk a lot about a lot of things. And don't get mad, but what it looks like is that you found a new life, and the only way to get that new life was to get rid of the old life. And I think that you killed these girls before their mom came home, and then killed Shanann. And that's what we're kind of left, that's what we have to believe, because it just doesn't make sense.
Because he's not telling the truth.
To her point,
he hasn't
if I
told
walk
the
in and
truth
my
the whole
kid was
entire time.
decapitated, I call an ambulance,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Knowing there's no hope.
it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up. So either you're this monster who says, I just want this young, hot girlfriend, so I'm going to kill everyone and hope it works out, or something. So I think we're very, very close to the truth, but not quite there yet. So if you're not that monster, I'm not.
No, he is.
I didn't kill my babies. Okay. So, tell us what actually happened. I told you what happened. I know, but, you know, we're getting later into the day. We've done this a few times, and we talk, then we show you a little bit of what we're working with, some evidence and facts that we know, and then we kind of get our way to the truth. So,
I still don't think we're
everything I've told you.
anywhere close to the truth.
So what's going to happen
Well,
when their cause of death comes back to you? Or the girl's not going to. Okay. You sure? I'm 100% positive it's not going to come back to me. Who's it going to come back to? Shanann was on top of Cece. Okay. What do you want me to say? I just want the truth. That is the truth. And then what about Bella? Bella was laid out, sprawled on her bed. Okay. And I saw Shanann on top of Cece, so I ran in there.
Agent Lee asks him whether he felt sorry for what he did.
You feel sorry for what you did?
I wish I wouldn't have lost control and got on top of Shanann and did that. And then did that.
Just don't believe it.
What? Took him out to the well site?
Yes.
Unconvincing. Remembered his response for later, when Watts talks about remorse. There would be no additional confessions.
Till later.
Chris Watts was arrested.
Chris, don't stand up for me. I'm going to have you face that wall over there.
What's got to be a feeling to feel this?
He was fired by Anadarko that day. Agents were confident that Watts killed his daughters and disappointed that they didn't extract a full confession. But they wouldn't have to wait long. Within 2 weeks of being arrested, Watts confessed to also killing his daughters. It was part of a plea deal, where prosecutors agreed to not seek the death penalty in exchange for his guilty plea.
Should never give him a plea deal.
Based on the mountain of evidence that would be collected after Watts' arrest. A painfully detailed jailhouse confession he would make to agents a few months later, and subsequent letters he'd write to an author. A clearer picture of the events surrounding the murder came into focus.
Bend down and hit it. Come on. Oh!
Nice.
Do it again. Go get Uncle Frankie. Go get Uncle Frankie.
Up until August of 2018, Shanann was confident that she was living a picture-perfect life. She had a beautiful family, was a top producer at Lavelle, and was married to the most loving, caring soulmate anyone could ask for. She was scheduled to go on a 5-week trip to North Carolina so the girls could spend time with both her and Chris's families. Chris would join them for their last week there, but would stay home for the majority of the trip since he had to work. While the girls did indeed get to spend time with family, the trip was not going well. There had already been extreme friction between Shanann and Chris's parents dating back to the start of their relationship, and this visit was no different. The tension grew to an irreconcilable level when Chris's mother served CC ice cream with peanuts in it. And according to Shanann, his sister laid out an actual bowl of peanuts after Shanann became angry about the peanuts in the ice cream, with CC being dangerously allergic to peanuts to the point of needing an EpiPen if exposed. Shanann finally lost it. She was furious, left their house as soon as she could, and never went back. She vented to Chris, who promised to handle it when he arrived. Chris's parents were also upset and skipped going to CC's birthday party about a week later. And that wasn't the first important event they skipped.
And they got married in 2012, did they, in North Carolina?
They did. Mm-hmm.
How was that?
We didn't attend.
Really?
Mm-mm. We didn't attend because Shanann and I just couldn't get along.
But the tension with her in-laws wasn't Shannon's only concern. Chris was beginning to behave differently as well. She tried to both text and talk with him about it, even growing angry. But he insisted everything was fine. Once Chris finally joined them in North Carolina, it didn't get any better. He was distant and cold, and everyone noticed. Shanann had booked a trip to the beach for the 4 of them to get away, and even Bella and CC, who were normally all over Chris, uncharacteristically shied away from him as a result of him seeming so annoyed with them, which he was actually fine with. They were an obstacle, and he genuinely was annoyed. Also, on his first night there, Shanann said she had a bad headache. So Chris gave her what he told her was an over-the-counter pain reliever, but was actually a potentially lethal and highly addictive narcotic in an effort to end her pregnancy. He thought that if he ended her pregnancy, it would make it easier to leave her and be with Kessinger. She vomited most of the night and he didn't help her, hoping for his desired outcome. On that same night, he texted Kessinger and told her he couldn't talk and could only text for the night. She replied, "Why not? Are you with her?" Kessinger was fine with Chris visiting his family in North Carolina, but not Shanann. So for the remainder of the trip, Chris had as little interaction with Shanann as he possibly could. He avoided any and all intimacy and would simply leave the room whenever it became clear she wanted to be intimate. Shanann shared with her good friend Addie Maloney that he hadn't touched or kissed or really even talked to her all week. She notes how they couldn't get enough of each other before the trip. Something was wrong, and she knew it. According to a friend, Shanann had speculated about Chris having an affair, but dismissed it, telling the friend that Chris didn't have it in him. Which, to many seeing Chris for the first time on television, strapping and fit, may not have seemed to be the case. But the Chris Watts that many saw for the first time on national television barely resembled the man that Shanann met some 8 years prior, 60 pounds heavier, as he ironically and chillingly delivered a presentation on infidelity for a speech course he was taking 2 years into their relationship. Among other things, he discusses what relationship enders are.
You have 2 types of deterioration. You have sudden and you have gradual. Sudden would be an example of infidelity. When somebody is not faithful to their partner, the partners realize that the relationship cannot be sustained. Gradual would be if you met somebody at work or a new friendship has occurred and you, as it goes on, you see that, okay, maybe this relationship has more potential than the relationship I have with my partner. And that would gradually push the old relationship out.
He's literally talking about himself in the future.
According to Bloomstein and Schwartz, when a relationship breaks up, it's generally the more attractive one that leaves, which I agree with somewhat and then I disagree with.
So, the not-so-fit Chris of their early dating days was a far cry from the more chiseled Chris, whose behavior was now baffling his wife. She assumes that the rift that she had with his parents may be causing his behavior. She texts a friend to give her a visual of what she was facing. He would eventually confirm that he was no longer interested in continuing their marriage. He even bizarrely deleted his Facebook account. And remember that strange photo of the covered-up doll that Chris's father told agents Shanann had posted to her Facebook page. Well, it turns out she was not the person who took the photo. Chris was. He sent it to her 3 days before the murder, and she replied, "Don't know what to think about this." She then posted it to her Facebook page, joking about it. Chris had planted the photo, and his father pushed it. The night before they were set to return to Colorado, Chris told Shanann that he's happy with just Bella and Cece, and doesn't want another baby. Crushed and completely confused, particularly since they decided to have the baby together, she tells him that she doesn't feel safe with him after what he said about the baby. With Shanann devastated, the trip finally comes to an end. They return to Colorado on August 7th, 6 days before the disappearance. They would be home for a few days before Shanann would have to leave for a business trip to Arizona. She considered canceling given the tension in her marriage, but Chris insisted she go and promised they would talk when she got home.
Yeah.
In reality, he saw it as another opportunity to spend more time with Kessinger. But Shanann saw it as a glimmer of hope, especially since Chris agreed to going on a romantic weekend together the following weekend. And at some point, since they now knew the gender of the baby Shanann was now 15 weeks pregnant with, they decided to name him Nico.
Well, we're going to leave it there, guys. I want to continue this as a part 2. So with that being said, the first part of it, I know a lot of us have seen a good amount of this already. There is definitely some things in there, little bits and pieces that I do not remember that actually refreshed my memory on certain aspects of the beginning of this. But I would definitely love to watch the second part with you guys. So make sure you guys comment down below that you want part 2. Hit the like button. Let's get this video to 500 likes, and we'll do part 2 as soon as we get to that 500 likes. So hit the like button. Hopefully the next part is not too bad in what we do not know, apparently. I'm hoping it's nothing like, I wouldn't say case breaking, but in a more of a favor towards Nicole Kessinger being involved in or some shape or form. So again, thank you guys for watching. Please be or take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys in the next video.